Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Riderpiece Theater. Me, Alistair Dayhawk, and tonight, me proud to present Kamen Rider Gavv, episode 15. So the episode begins with Dr. Nick receiving a surprise visitor. And that surprise visitor is no other than Neylv. And it was Neylv that gave Dr. Nick that piece of Ganut that Dr. Nick, surgically performed on Hanto. And was I surprised by this? No. Because how in the hell will Dr. Nick find a piece of a Ganut if there's no other researchers around? Like, how in the hell did he acquire that organ on his own, right? He had to have help, right? And Neylv, he is an interesting character because why the sudden interest in Hanto? Of course, his half-brother, that's another thing, but why Hanto? What's so special about this boy? Unless my theory of, Hanto and Shoma being half-siblings, it's still, up in the air, considering that my other theory that the beast that attacked Hanto's mom could possibly be Shoma, but cider here or there. But yes. Neylv was the one who gave Dr. Nick that piece of, Ganut, and he came in for a trade. And he came in with a jar of stolen gachizos and another piece of another piece of Ganut flesh. So what would Dr. Nick do with that piece of Ganut? I have no idea. I just hope to God he doesn't perform another surgery on Hanto, because that first one, he barely survived it. And can you imagine adding another organ in there? I don't know, man. It's just what is he going to do with that piece of meat? Obviously, we all know what he is going to do with the stolen gachizos, but the organ, I don't know. So the mystery between the two is mighty interesting. It's what is your relationship between Dr. Nick and Neylv, considering that Neylv is really prejudiced towards humans, and why would a human like Dr. Nick be working with a Ganut? And do you think that Dr. Nick, everything that he told Hanto was a lie? Or maybe it's based on half-truths? I have no idea. Neylv, he is becoming a complicated, mysterious character, and I just can't help but why. Is it the name of science? Or is he pulling a Kreia where he hates humans but he wants to study them, and just based on his experiments on humans, he will use that information to go against humanity? I have no idea, but right now, this relationship, it's what's going on here? I thought you hate humans, and I thought you hate Ganuts. What's going on? So we move on to Shoma, the king of sweets, junk food, and diabetes, and apparently this episode is a Christmas-based episode, because apparently in Gavv world, it's already Christmas. Yes. And Shoma was reading the gift of the magi and learns about gifts and all that. And then Sachika came into the picture. She was getting ready to go do a job, and she is waiting for Shoma to, hurry up, let's go to this job site, blah, 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 blah. And this is where Shoma asks Sachika about the story that he read. And this is where, the story is about, the wife selling her hair for a golden chain. The husband sold his watch for a hair ornament. And Shoma assumes, well, the couple did all that, and to discover that their wife husband gave them an item that no longer is a use for them, because like I mentioned before, the husband gave his watch to trade in for a hair ornament, while the wife traded her hair for a golden chain, and it's useless now, right? But Sachika gave out an excellent answer, which is, it may seem that way, that the gift that they received would go to waste, but no, because it just proves how much they love each other. They went through the lengths of training something that they cherish so deeply in the name of love and all that good stuff. And this is where Shoma was like, oh, like he's thinking about, doing the same thing, with Sachika and whatnot. So Shoma asked Sachika, hey, do you want a gift? I could get you something. And Sachika's like, no, don't worry about it. Don't worry about me. I don't want a gift. Hey, I have a good idea. Why not give a gift to Hanto? Apparently, I've noticed that you two are, forming, or, you two have an item. Like, you two are forming a bond. Like, you're getting close. Like, why not just give him a gift for Christmas? And this leaves Shoma like, oh, okay, good idea, Sachika. But he doesn't know what to give Hanto. Because let's face it, guys, aside from his personal backstory, does Shoma really know anything about Hanto enough to give him a gift? Like, what is his favorite color? To what does he like to eat? What anime he likes to watch? That sort of thing. Those basic things. I mean, so he's like, okay. But you know how Shoma is. He looks like a teenager, but he is so innocent. Like, he's innocent like a child. And he's just like learning the ropes, because he is literally an alien from another world. He wants to understand humans. He wants to, save the earth and humanity and all that stuff. So he is really, into this stuff. Which, by the way, I want to add something before I move forward. Last week, Shoma, killed, his twin sister, Shitta. And I assume that in this episode, he will not be haunted by what happened, but be like fighting his inner demons. Like, hey, my sister was a piece of caca, but she was still my sister. But in this episode, Shoma's like, nah. Which I understand, because if you have a shitty family member that you don't care about, it's just like, whatever. It sucks because that person is part of your family, but it's just, I find it strange that Shoma, considering how his character is, wouldn't be like feeling like a little bit regretful, because this is Shitta, my sister, and she is killed. But then again, she was a monster, and she was planning on killing more humans if he didn't come out and fight. And yeah, it's a complicated issue, but I understand that Shoma wouldn't have any feelings towards Shitta or other of his evil siblings. But, something I wanted to point out. So we move on from there. And speaking of Hanto, from the moment Sachika told Shoma, hey, just give Hanto a gift, it immediately cuts to Hanto, and he bumps into, let me set up the stage. So we immediately cut into Hanto, and he looks like he is trying to find Kani the crab, and he's in the marketplace. He bumps into a reindeer, and guess who's the reindeer? Shoma. I mean, can I stop right here? Like, first, Shoma dresses up as a pumpkin for Halloween, and now for Christmas, he dresses up as a reindeer. I mean, this has to become a trend. It has to become a trend because it pays me to admit that Shoma, the actor who plays him, I mean, he looks he looks goofy but cute at the same time, wearing these goofy outfits like a pumpkin, a reindeer. What's next? I mean, unfortunately, there's no other major holidays unless you want to count Valentine's Day, which, by the way, Valentine's Day should belong to Hanto. I want to see him dressed up as a Cupid or something just to make fun of him. That would have been so funny. Like, I hope to God that they made a Valentine's Day episode and the main focus is, Hanto, considering that his Kamen Rider name is Valen. And then Shoma is like, hey, today's Valentine's Day. Hey, Valentine's Day? Just to rub it to Hanto's face. That would have been so funny. Anyway, so Shoma is dressed up as a reindeer. And Hanto's like, hey, I didn't, like, what's going on? Why are you dressed up as a reindeer? And Shoma points out that me and Sachika we're hosting this Christmas raffle. And this is where Sachika says hi to Hanto and be like, hey, Shoma, it's time. If you have a gift for him, give it to him. And Shoma's like, oh, right. So Shoma gives Hanto one of his cachizos. And he's like, hey, take it. And Hanto's like, thank you. And this is where Shoma was like, this is not the reaction that I expected, considering what he read from, the gift of the magi. Like, he expected Hanto to be like, oh my God, like, cool, thank you, that's sort of surprising reaction, I guess. But Hanto's like, oh, thank you. And Shoma's like, Is this gift not good enough? And he's like, maybe I should have done more. And then this scene becomes even funnier when Sachika is, like, hey, have Hanto help us with this raffle because they were getting more customers. And Shoma's just, oh, okay. And he just grabs Hanto and literally drags him into this job thing. And it's like, oh, like, Shoma is very aggressive. Like, that's what I've noticed. It happened twice. The first time is with the sisters and the whole catfish episode. The way, Shoma just drags these two women into the Sachika offices. The way he just drags them in, and then Hanto just drags him in. It's like, hey, I'm busy. Nuh-uh, you can be working with us. And then we immediately go to Hanto being one of the reindeers. He was coerced. He's dressed up as a reindeer just like Shoma, and he's like, oh my God, I can't believe I've been dragged into this. That's so funny. So yeah, he became a reindeer just like Shoma. And he's just, ringing that bell. He's bored to death. Like, I can't believe I've been dragged into this. I should be hunting down Kani the crab. And speaking of Kani the crab, we get into this scene where Kani the crab is talking to, I think, one of Lago's agents, and he's turning in some of his spices to him. But unfortunately, the agent told Kani the crab that these spices are not good enough for Lago's standards and whatnot, and no dark treats for Kani the crab. So Kani the crab is very frustrated and he wants his dark treats, and every time he hunts down humans, have us a bountiful full of spices, and the agent's like, not good enough. It's not up to par, so no dark treats for you. And like, I can understand where Kani the crab is coming from, because if I were to hunt humans and have a basket full of spices, and I have an agent telling me that, yeah, it's not good enough, it's not S tier and all that, it's like, then what's the point of working? Kani the crab, here's my advice to you. You your stinger lookalike and your siren singing. I think you need to target the rich people of Tokyo. You need to. You have the voice for it. I think you have the disguise for it as well. So you could just say, "Hey, I'm Stinger from some Sentai team," and maybe some rich kid will, take you in or something. I don't know. It's just like, come on, Kani the crab, don't be lazy. Go after the rich people. That's what Longo wants. But he gets really frustrated and he's upset. So he wanders around the streets until he spots Hanto and Shoma. So yeah, he spots the reindeers, which gives him an evil look on his face, like he has an evil plan. So yeah, gives him an idea. So we get to the next scene after the opening credits, and Hanto is free from the reindeer costume. He's like, I'm done. It's over, thank God. And Shoma wants him to stay, but Hanto's like, no. I'm hunting down a certain crab. And then, but before I move forward, like, Hanto noticed something about Shoma, that he's being too clingy towards him, and he's like, why are you being like at me? Like, why are you like being all clingy? Like, what's going on? And he pushes Hanto, and this is where we get to see Shoma listening to a song. He turns around and he noticed that Kani the crab is using his siren music to lure innocent humans into listening to his song. And then Hanto comes in and notices too that, we spotted Kani the crab, and he is gathering a crowd. So they're like in an awkward situation, because they cannot chase after this Ganyut when there's a crowd there. And remember, like, if these two were to go after this Ganyut in disguise, the rest of the humans would be like, why are these two chasing after this beautiful man that can sing? What's going on here? So it's gonna draw suspicions, right? But then it didn't happen that way, because as Kani was continue singing, he turns around and spots a reindeer, and Hanto be like, crap. And it's funny because he runs away, right? Like, normally when someone wants to run away, you drop everything and you run. So this is funny because Kani the crab was like, Skittles. So instead of dropping his guitar and runs away, he just like gently places his guitar in his case and then runs away. Something that I noticed, I'm like, damn, you really, for a Ganyut, you really love your guitar. Yeah, something that I've noticed. So the boys are hunting down this poor innocent crab, and which leaves poor Sachika. As the boys leave, Sachika was like, oh, thank God, there's a break and whatnot. But then a huge crowd comes in line, and Sachika's like, oh my God, what's going on? It's like we got more customers, and just leaving Sachika, without any help. Poor Sachika. So the duo chases after the crab, and then they both split up. And this is where things get very interesting here, because as Hanto and Shoma splits up, the crab was behind them. He was doing the sneaky sneak. So Instead of running away, he's running towards a problem. And he decides, okay, which problem I have to deal with, Hanto or Shoma? And he decides to pick Shoma, so he just he pretty much sneaks behind Shoma as Shoma was running to find the crab, even though the crab was, following him. So yeah, that's part of his evil plan. So we get to the next scene. Job, whatever. He is in mourning. He is hiding somewhere in the rain. At least it's not in the dark, shady alley. But he is inside some abandoned building in the rain. And here I thought that he had a haircut, considering that the last time we saw him, he was in the shady, rainy alley and he was cutting his hair. But no, he just cut a few, just cuts a few, and the rest is, whatever. And he is in mourning. He's in hiding. And the rest of the family in the Ganyu world received the news that their sister is killed. She is dead. And surprisingly, yet not surprisingly, they didn't cry over her or anything like that. Lago was really surprised that Shoma, that red Gavv runt, killed one of us. The twins were weak, but Shoma killed his sister? Really? And there's no tears. There's no sadness. It's just more shock and golata, which I know I mispronounce people's names, but you guys know who I'm talking about here, the older sister. It's oh, I wish Neylv could have helped them out more, and maybe Shitta would still be here, and our half brother would have been dead by now. And I'm okay. Again, this goes back to what I said last week about poor parenting. The stomach family, the siblings are at fault because they are monsters. They want to take over the Ganyu world. They want to enslave humanity and use them as food to create the dark treats. It's just all because of the bad parenting, and more of the blame goes to Papa's stomach, because that's mostly his fault, because he produced monsters. Where is the mother at? Is she alive? Is she dead? How was she a part of the family? Why, what caused these kids to become little kakas? And to the point where they're okay, Shitta's dead. I'm shocked that our half-brother killed her. Okay. Oh, I wish Neylv would have helped her, helped the twins. I'm okay. You got one correct point. Well, what about you? What about you, Longo? Why didn't you help your twin siblings? Your Shitta would still be alive if it weren't for, being bad siblings and bad father. It's just the equivalent of a bad family, and how they got raised is just damn. And can you imagine if Gavv dies and then the family, dies? It's and the only person left is Longo. It's well, oh well, they were weak. Anyways, I'm just pointing that out because, my God, they don't care. It's just shocked at the fact that, their half-brother of all species, killed Shitta, really? Anyways, so speaking of Neylv, we go to his office, and again, this is going back to what I just said not too long ago, or a second ago, is that, and I'm gonna say this this is a quote, oh, thank you, my dear sister, for your sacrifice, because now that our half-brother has evolved, I can do more research. Thank you for your noble sacrifice. Thank you, Shitta, for sacrificing yourself for the name of science. That's pretty much what it is. Because that's what Neylv said. Like, he views his sister's loss as a necessary loss for science. And it allowed him to observe his half-brother's, evolution, his fighting skills. It's like, wow. Am I surprised? No. But, come on. She is your sibling, your sister, and you're like, thank you for your sacrifice for the name of science. Really? They are little kakas, aren't they? I wouldn't want to be a part of the stomach family. I would not. So we go back to Dr. Nick's office because we get a flashback, and because he receives, his trade. Remember, Neylv went to Dr. Nick for a trade. So Dr. Nick obviously got the cachizos and the piece of ganyu, while Neylv got what looks like to be, it's sweets, but to me it looked like flan or jello or whatever. It's not yogurt, but it looks like flan to me. And we get to the flashback, and Dr. Nick gives, treats to Neylv and be like, what is this? And Dr. Nick is like, this is what Shoma, the sweets is the source of Shoma's power. That's how he gets new forms and all that. And Neylv tries it and be like, Like, he was surprised of the taste, and Dr. Nick's like, hey, I eat those all the time. It's pretty good. And so Dr. Nick tells Neylv that the sweets are the source of Shoma's powers, and he does experiments with the flan. But just to add on top of that, not only Neylv got like sweets, but also Dr. Nick gave like a file to Neylv, which I believe it contains how to create a driver. So I'm getting this feeling that Neylv is going to create his own driver, just like Dr. Nick did with those files. So yeah, that book, that notebook he gave to Neylv, I believe it contains the blueprints of creating a driver, the same driver that Dr. Nick created for Hanto. So yeah, that's going to be a third rider coming in, and it's obvious who is going to it's going to give it to, because it all points down to this newly recruited Ganyu, which I will talk about a little bit later. So, yep. We move on from there to Kani the crab. So he decides to expose himself to Shoma, and this is another funny scene, because he is begging Shoma, but before that, so Kani the crab exposes himself to Shoma. And then this is where Shoma immediately transforms into a Kamen Rider, and he does his traditional catchphrase where he says, "Give up the dark treats, or you're gonna get an ass whooping." And Kani the crab says, "Yes, I'll give up the dark treats. I want to quit." And Shoma's like, "Okay." He was about to fight, but then he was like, "What? You said you're going to give up the dark treats?" I'm surprised he didn't stumble when he heard that, yes, I'm going to quit. But I find it to be funny because, up to this point, the guy Newt has said, no, I'm not going to give it up. Yeah, you're going to have to kill me, which Shoma does. But in this case, it's like we have the first yes, even though we all know that Kani the crab is lying. So we got that funny moment. Kani the crab claims that he wants to quit and he wants to give up the life that he had for 20 years because he's been working for Shoma's family for 20 years. And, he tells his story. He wants to quit. And when Kani was explaining that, I've been hunting humans for 20 years and I felt nothing while hunting humans because he didn't pay attention and all that. And this is where Shoma's like, how dare you? Do you have any idea like what these humans have lost? I mean, I get what he's coming from, but I just feel like if you entered into something knowing that, hey, it's just a job and not knowing the consequences of that said job, it's just like, I'm just doing the job to get paid. Like, I didn't expect this until Longo took over and be like, I want S tier spices, not mediocre spices. Like, but we all know that Kani the crab will never quit, and that crab has many lives. I mean, yeah. So Shoma gets upset, but Kani's like, I have no idea until now. Like, geez, relax. So 20 years of hunting humans for dark treats, and Shoma gets upset, and then Kani claims that he wants to repent, he wants to be redeemed. No dark treats, no hunting humans, I'm gonna quit. But then, Hanto just shoots, asks questions later, and Shoma stops him, and the crab escapes. What I've noticed too is that Hanto shoots and then Kani just gets pushed because of the impact of the bullets onto a river, and the crab just runs away into the river. And now we get this scene, this next scene, where once again the stew is brewing. The stew is brewing, and I'll tell you why. So Shoma explains himself as to why he stopped Hanto from destroying Kani the crab, and he tells his story to Hanto, which Hanto's like, do you believe this crab? He is lying to you. Do not believe him. Everything he told you are lies. You cannot believe any Newt. And Shoma was like, hey, is there a possibility there's peaceful Newts that don't want to get involved with the stomach family and all that, causing harm to humanity? And this is where Hanto says he does not care. Every single Newt, whether they're involved with the stomach company or not, are to be eliminated. So this causes Shoma to really be, because remember, he's a half Newt, and for Hanto to say that to him, it's like, I can't talk to him about me being a half Newt because of what he believes Newts are evil, they need to be exterminated, and this belief that, hey, there's a possibility that Newts can be good and quit eating the dark treats, but Hanto's like, no, Newts are evil. They need to be eliminated. And this reminds me, guys, if you guys seen 01, I'm getting a whole lot of Fua vibes. For those who've seen 01 knows what I'm gonna say. But for those who don't, Fua, he was very anti-human gears because he was led to believe that the human gears killed his family until later on it was proven to be a lie. But before that, Fua was really anti-human gears to the point where he didn't allow any human gear, at least to like any doctor, human gear, nurses, to even allow them to touch him and do all that, not to get involved in any not to talk to human gears and all that stuff, because he was led to believe that these AI killed his family and all that. So he was really anti-human gears until later on. So I'm getting full vibes from Hanto, but eventually, once we get into maybe episode 30s into the 40s, Hanto will begin to understand that not all Garnutes are evil. They're not here to turn humans into spices and all that stuff. And of course, he will learn the truth about Shoma and also the other Garnute, which we all know that I strongly believe that new recruit is going to join Hanto and Shoma. So Hanto has serious character evolution to do, because he is so anti-Garnute right now that he's not willing to work with any Garnutes. He's not willing to work with any of them, like with Uncle Dente, Shoma, the new recruit later. So how is he gonna deal with that? And it's just, I don't know. It's gonna be very interesting. But anyways, that's something I wanted to add. So Hanto is like, telling Shoma that he made a fool out of you. Remember that the Garnutes took away my mother. They took away your mother. Did you seem to forget? Are you trying to forgive them? And Shoma said no. It's just already he's throwing Shoma's mom to his face, like, remember what the Garnutes have done to your mother. And all that. Remember our cause. We need to destroy our Garnutes. And like, oh man. Hanto, you're going to have a rude awakening once the truth comes out. Whether it comes from Shoma or somebody else, which I believe either it would be one of the stomach siblings or Dr. Nick, be like, yeah, I don't know how he's going to deal with it. So he gets very upset that, that Kani the Crab Kani the Crab made Shoma look like a fool because he doesn't believe of goody Garnutes. He just leaves, and then poor Sachika comes in and be like, hey, you guys left me, because after you left me there was a crowd and I was left alone, dealing with the Christmas raffle. But she's so tired. But Sachika wanted to invite Hanto to a Christmas party later, and Hanto's like, no, I'm sorry, and he just ups and leaves because he's upset. And Sachika's like, what the hell happened? Shoma, why is he angry? And Shoma doesn't say anything. He's just sat down being all sad. I mean, it's understandable, because Shoma wants to he does like Hanto, but the problem is that he cannot really tell him the truth because he's really anti-Garnutes and all that. And to see Hanto get angry at the fact that there could be good Garnutes out there, there could be Garnutes who is willing to give up these dark, evil candy crack, it's like it's impossible. And he's just, I don't know. I feel bad for Shoma. I really do. But unfortunately, Shoma, you're going to have to fight your dear friend. The breakup will happen first, and then fight. And then you make up again. Don't worry about it. You just have to survive the fight. But you have plot armor. You're okay. So speaking of the deceitful Kani the Crab, we find that somehow, some way, Kani the Crab finds Jeeb in his abandoned building, like, oh, I'm happy that I found you, Jeeb Sama, and all that. And mind you, Kani the Crab is still in his Ganyu form. He's not in his human form, and he talks to Jeeb, and he's like, hey, you can't believe what just happened, and I have this plan. And this scene just felt completely out of place, because as Kani the Crab was about to tell his side of the story of what happened, we immediately go from, Jeeb and Kani to this court scene. So it just felt random. So we get into this court scene, and we see this man in black enter the courthouse, and then we get into this flashback. Apparently, this man in black is none other than the newly recruit Ganyu. So he wakes up from his surgery. This is a flashback. And Neylv says everything is completed, and welcome to the stomach company. And Longo gives the orientation, and we get a name. Either it's his real name or a name given to him by Neylv. His name is Logage 9. That's his code name, I guess. And so Logage 9 gets his orientation, gets his human disguise, and then he gets kicked out. He gets kicked out into the human world, and Logage was being all depressed because he's like, oh man, like I want to get the dark treats now, and I get kicked out and I have to go to work and all that. It's like, oh man. So he ventures up into the human world, and then we get to present time where he shows up in the courthouse, and he stood up, and one of the judge was like, you can't leave the court. But all of a sudden, Luggage 9 transforms back into his Ganyu form. He stuns everybody and turns everybody into a dark treat, and he just picks them up and leaves. Yeah, he leaves an empty courthouse. So we move on from the courthouse to Shoma and Uncle Dente. And this scene was all about, asking his great uncle, is it possible for the Ganyuts to give up the dark treats, considering how very addictive they are? Is there a possibility that there are good Ganyuts out there? And his uncle didn't really give Shoma like a good answer, you could say, because he says it's highly unlikely that anybody would give up the dark treats, let alone quit the stomach company. Because the way his uncle was telling Shoma, it sounds like to me that the stomach company, the stomach family, is nothing more than a mafia. Like this, it's the mafia you're dealing with, because it's like, I want to quit the mafia, but you know damn well that the only way you quit the mob, it's either go to prison or death, because you know too much. So mostly death. So the way Uncle Dente tells his great nephew is that it's like the way of the mob. Like, you cannot quit. If you want to quit, the only way to quit is to, be disposed of. And Shoma's like, and again, I feel bad for Shoma because he wants to see the good in his species. But right now, things are not looking so great, because you have Hanto, who doesn't care if Ganyuts are good or bad. They need to be killed. And then Uncle Dente says, well, for the Ganyuts who join the stomach company and tasted the dark treats, there's no way of them actually quitting without disappearing like altogether, like not giving out a letter of like a 2 weeks notice per se. Like, they could just up and leave without saying anything. They could do that. But if they announce they're gonna quit, do you seriously think that Lago will allow that Ganyu to leave? I can already imagine Lago just killing that Ganyu off because he knows too much. Yeah, it's just like the mob. It's the mob. So we get to this Kachizo scout and reports to Shoma that, that Kani the crab is in trouble. So Shoma leaves his great uncle, and then we immediately go to Hanto, who is also looking for Kani the crab. And we get Shoma. Shoma arrives first. He finds Kani the crab getting beat up by the agents. However, these agents are different because we all know that the agents have colors. we all know that red belongs to Longo, but blue belongs to one of the twins, aka Jade. So it's obvious it's a trap. We all knew that Kani the Crab would never redeem himself. We all know that. But Kani the Crab gets attacked by the agents, and then this is where Kani the Crab betrays him. And so he is betrayed. But we all know that there's always a price for betrayal, right? There's always a price for betrayal. And so the price is Shoma transforms into his K form and gets a royal ass kicking to Kani the Crab for his betrayal. So Kani the Crab knows that he's being overpowered because of this new form, so he decides to hightail it out of there and let the agents deal with the Cake King and his 2 royal guards, which, by the way, they were given the power of the chip form and also the chocolate gun form. So Kani the Crab runs away, and as he runs away, he stumbles across Hanto. It's like, oh man, like here I thought I'm running to safety, but no, I had to stumble across you, Hanto. And we get this awesome transformation from Hanto. Like, damn, like they're being creative with their transformations, but I find Hanto's transformation in this episode, in this scene, was like, damn, I find it to be cool. For those who've seen it, you guys know what I'm talking about, and I hope you guys seen the episode, because come on, this is spoiled territory. So we have an awesome transformation from Hanto. However, as he was about to use Shoma's gift, Kani the Crab decides to steal the gift away from Hanto and gets a royal beatdown from Kani the Crab. And yeah, it was bad. And then, Shoma easily deals with the agents. However, his energy has been depleted because of the form, because, it takes a lot of energy to maintain the form and all that stuff. And you see him in his basic form just gingerly as he was tired, climbing up the stairs. And he's like, he noticed that Hanto is demorphed. And, Kani the Crab was about to kidnap him because the plan, his evil plan, was to kidnap one of them and deliver them to one of the Stomach family members, which either be Lago or Jeeb. Either way, that was the plan. And I don't know if he was about to kidnap him as the way Hanto is, or turn him into a spice. Either way, Shoma's like, Hanto! And you see poor Hanto all unconscious, all beat up and whatnot. I mean, he was beat up worse, but he was, Kani the Crab was overpowered. And also because of the agents as well, I believe they were there. So it was a 3-on-1 handicap match. But yeah, that's the end of the episode here, guys. I mean, another great episode. This is 10 times better than Gotchard. And guys, I know you guys are waiting for me to do my heroes and villains videos for Gotchard, but my heart is not into it. Like, work aside, I just cannot do it because I can't stand that show so much. I've done the heroes video, but it's just something is wrong with it, and I didn't want to turn it in. So I'm like, I don't know if I want to do a heroes and villains videos for Gotchard, considering how horrible it is. But I will think about it some more, but right now, thanks to work, I feel like it's overloading me, so I need to really take my time and really, if I want to do it, but, I'm just saying if you guys are waiting for it. But another great episode from Gavv. Already there's trouble brewing in the duo, because already Hanto does not care if there's good Ganyuts out there. If he sees a Ganyu, he's going to destroy it, making Shoma sad. Shoma has been sad in this episode because, for one thing, when he gave the gift to Hanto, he didn't get the reaction he wanted. The whole Kani the crab thing, wants to quit the stomach family, but gave him some hope that his species can be saved and redeemed, but neither Hanto nor his Uncle Dente gave him high hopes at all. Obviously, Kani the crab was lying from the very beginning. Gavv is still in mourning. The rest of the family do not care about Shitta's death at all. And Neylv is, out there, doing his experiments and preparing his first driver. Dr. Nick is in cahoots with Neylv, and our beloved Naga 9 has officially, is officially working for the company and turning humans into spices and whatnot. And yeah, I think that is it. That pretty much sums it up. I mean, and Shoma once again dressed up in a theme costume, which I hope to God is a trend, and have Hanto dress up too, to make fun of him. He acts all cool and all that stuff, but come on. Join in all the fun. Hanto, dress up just like Hanto, your partner in crime. Yeah, so the stomach family, it's just monsters, legit monsters, and all that, and Kani the crab. I want to add this before I go. I know this video is already long, but if Kani the crab would have been more, like, 10 times smarter, and if he knew about Hanto's story, he would have just manipulated the team more and be like the Gollum, the Smeagol of the group, and be like, Shoma, Hanto is being mean to me. I want to be good. I don't want to be, I said what I meant what I said. I don't want to hunt humans down anymore. I'm trying to quit the candy crack. Please, Shoma. And Hanto's like, do you believe this crap? Do you believe it? I need to destroy him. And Shoma's like, no, he's my friend. I believe in him. He's the hope that, he's going to be the beacon of hope for future Ganyuts who want to quit. I must protect him. Kani the crab could have been the Gollum, the Smeagol of the group that, eventually will split up, but be the cause of the group splitting up. If Kani the crab was smarter and also knew more of Hanto's story, which he doesn't know. Obviously, he doesn't know Hanto's background and his mother and all that. Because if he knew, I'm sure Kani would be like, let me use this information into my advantage and that sort of thing. But unfortunately, Kani the crab is not that smart. But, then again, I don't know. He pulled this stunt, but it's either here or there. Thank you so much for listening. Sorry I took so long to upload this video. Work has been dreadful. I've been doing a lot of overtime and all that, and every time I come home, I'm so tired and I can't do anything. But now I have this video for you to listen to, and I hope you enjoy it. If I miss anything, even though I have my notes in front of me, write in the comments below. And also, have you seen the episode? Did you like it? Did you dislike it? Tell me your thoughts and opinions on the comments below. Give a like if you like it, and please subscribe. And I'll see you all on the other side of Oblivion.